So before I even get into this is called a product analytics module. Whatever you have been doing so far was quite engaging. Like you were actually doing hands-on. Even after the class, you will go home, practice and stuff. In these modules, I will not give you so much to go home and do the work. It will be all about, developing your thought process. So now, even if you talk about so even before we get into step forward, let me at least give you a brief of what are we going to cover in this particular module. Just a minute. Yep. So this module is going to cover product metrics and product designs. So I'll just give you the module summary. I'll talk about what is metric and stuff, but as simple as that, I always give the example is I'm quite serious about fitness and stuff. So if if my weight training is going good or not, I'll have one metric which is called as muscle percentage. So I'll keep doing weight training, but how do I know whether that's going good or that's going wrong, that's helping me, that's not helping me? So I track something called as muscle percentage and fat percentage, and I see how are these two varying. So now I have something to measure what I'm doing. So that's we call as metric. Any metric related to product would become a product metric. So that's what we are going to see. How are the product metrics changing? So product metrics and their design, even designing, like what should be the metric, why is this change happening and stuff. We'll see the case studies across fitness apps, banking, social media. So we'll cover different domains to see. Then we'll talk about root cause analysis. Let's say my muscle percentage was increasing by 1% every month, and all of a sudden I saw in the last 6 months it has not even increased 0.2. Repeating it again, my muscle percentage was increasing 1% every month since last 1 year. All of a sudden in last 6 months I'm seeing that I'm not even, or last 3 months, not even a 0.2% increase in muscle. I want to analyze why is this happening. That's what is called as root cause analysis. That's something we'll see around products. Then we'll also talk about recency, frequency, monetary models, which is all around customer segmentation. Like if I come to you and say, I have to upgrade 10 customers to business class from economy class. Which customer should I target? And if I'm targeting, let's say I give a list of 10 customers, that these 10 customers should be upgraded. What's the reasoning behind it? Will upgrading them give us a good revenue later? Are these the right set of 10 customers? So these all things like customer segmentation and stuff is what we are going to study in this module. Customer segmentation, and RFM is one of the model which we use for customer segmentation. We are going to study guesstimates. I can never ever forget this because I remember I lost my interview just because I didn't know what's guesstimates. Like someone coming to you and say, hey, can you tell me how many people are enrolling to Scalar on a day? I mean, just take a guess. Like people are enrolling all over the world. What do you think on an average the daily enrollment is for Scalar, or anything in general, like how many Domino's pizzas get delivered in a day, in a month, something like that. Now, these are like, if you hear the question, you'll be like, what? How will I estimate the Domino's pizzas delivered in Bangalore? Like, how would I do that? So it looks like very vague, but then we'll talk about the approaches where you can actually come up with an approach to give a number. That number accuracy doesn't matter, but how did you approach to reach a number that matters. That's what we are going to talk in guesstimates. We'll also talk about A/B testing use cases. Like, hey, I want to launch a button. Should I even launch it on the right side? Will it work? Should I launch it in a blue color, green color, yellow color? Like, how are they doing? To give you an example from my domain, so we were just selling ancillary products like, extra bag, or we were selling it as a, extra leg space seat, just one product. We came up with the thinking, hey, why not make a bundle and then send it? So extra baggage plus extra leg space seat this amount. Definitely, it will definitely be lesser than if you buy it single. But the idea was maybe if the person finds the price competitive, they might purchase both of them, right? So we tried out whether the bundles are doing good or a standalone products are doing good. So that was also, so if we have four spaces, like if this is my screen, 1 second. If this is my screen, let's say I have four spaces to show the products. I show one product, and there I show bundle here. So that will give me an idea whether people are purchasing this or not. That's again what we call as A/B testing. So we'll look around different case studies, and at the last we'll see some basic like general case studies around Airbnb. How do you understand the business? There is one more. I don't recall, but yeah, some case studies around it. Airline bookings in general, like if you're given a data set, how do you address a problem, think about it, and so on. So that's going to be the agenda for the module. Any questions, guys? Recency, frequency, and monetary is the full form of RFM. Okay. Now, this is going to be an application oriented sessions. What I can guarantee is, if you are not into like, oh no, I need to just put my fingers on the tab and I need to work on it, definitely that's not going to happen. But you can use your fingers to interact with me by typing the messages. That's something I can assure you in these sessions. But these sessions won't be like hands-on. I give you a number, and you 1 or 2 sessions would be there where we'll be writing SQL queries and executing the code, and one session would include Tableau. But apart from that, it is going to be like just how to make up a thinking. We all have the answers. If I'll just give you a demo in few minutes, like Amir Khan does in Three Idiots, I'll give you a demo that you guys have the answer, but you do not know how to put that answer nicely. So that nice way of putting your answer is what we are going to understand in this. I would really need your interaction, guys, because if these sessions are not interactive, useless. We will not be able to make most of it. So I need to chat with you. You will have to ping me on the chat box and interact with me. So these is what I expect from you guys. Also, we'll develop business thinking because we'll be seeing use cases from different domains, as I said. So I'll make sure that we build up the business thinking. Oh, what do we do if it's a finance app? What do we do when it's a healthcare? What do we do when it's an e-commerce? What's the funnel? And I'll also try to give you an idea of asking right questions. Like lot of people ask questions, but sometimes I usually see in my company as well as in interviews that people just ask random questions because they have heard and come that if you ask questions to the interviewer, you will just shine like anything. That doesn't happen. Your questions are fine, but that has to be some logic behind it. If I'm asking you an airline question and you're connecting it with an a food company, that's something weird. I'll say, why is he asking a food question when I'm talking about airline? So make sure I will try and build up a skill where we can analyze which question is right for a problem and which is not. So wherever applicable, I'll give you frameworks, that short acronyms, so that you can keep in your mind and work on it. Other places that will be just a normal thought process which you'll have to keep in mind. But yes, this module is going to be easy for you. No burden, no pressure. Will go easy. Whenever you have doubt, ask me, Pooja, can you please repeat? Please be slow. Yeah, can you please repeat is little vague, but I didn't understand this exact. What does it mean? Something like that. If you'll elaborate, that will be helpful. So that's all on the beginners thing. Now moving on to our main agenda. Are we all good, guys? Do you want a sip of water or I move forward? All good? Okay. We are going to focus two things in the entire module. One is interviews, and second is company work. Both of these product sense, as the agenda for today. Product sense means how do you build the understanding about the product without even knowing much about it. So in interviews, definitely there is a quite likeliness that if I ask you a fitness related question, you might not know. How do you make yourself comfortable in that particular 30 minutes to 1 hour that you can answer something? You just cannot say that I don't know, I'm not going to answer, right? You definitely have to try. I clearly remember. So don't take it otherwise, but I have a thing against smoking. I don't know why, but it's like very strong. So in the interviewer, it was coincident that someone asked me, how many smokers do you think we have in India or in Bangalore? Something like that was asked, and I actually couldn't address that problem, but then I settled down, I thought about it, and then I came up with the question. So it's not that if you hate something, you will not answer it, you have to do it, right? So we'll prepare how do we make up a mind without knowing a product, we still come up with a solution. And in company wise, if you're already working in a company, this module will give us an approach on if any manager or if anyone comes up with a problem, how do we address that problem logically in a sequence and get to the solution. So that is what going to be the agenda for this module. Now, starting with the type of criteria which a judgment criteria for the interviewers is. So I'll put this as judgment criteria. Please bear with my handwriting. So everybody here would like to understand, I'm just talking about the interviewers, is the person addressing the problem has structure? So in few minutes, I'll ask you a question. You all will have the answer, but I'm sure there will be no structure to it. So if I just let me give you an example. YouTube traffic, the traffic which is coming on YouTube on day-to-day basis has reduced by 5%. I ask you, just random, can you tell me how would you address that problem? Just like vaguely, you got this question right now. I'm telling YouTube traffic, the daily YouTube traffic has reduced by 5%. How would you address this problem? Can you tell me what's the reason behind this reduction, this drop? What could be the reason behind? Maybe some news has come up against YouTube being misused. Okay, internet outage at some areas, alternate apps. What else? Content is not appropriate. Okay. Banned in specific country. Natural disasters at some data centers. Maybe people spending more time in travel after office started. Ads. Post-COVID screen time reduction. Okay. What else? Guys, we have 30 students in the class. I want all of you to participate. Change in subscription rate. Okay. Paid services. Some other apps give more specific results. More other platform usage. Okay. As pandemic situation got normal, people are traveling to office and then reducing the watching YouTube time, less personalized. Absolutely. So if you think about your answers, you have talked about external competitors like other apps. You also talked about a human behavior, which is like spending time. You also talked about something lacking at the YouTube's end. Maybe personalization is not happening, right? You also talked about regional specific constraints. Maybe there is a ban at some places, etc. So you have actually talked about different factors. You gave me the reasoning, but there was no structure to it. You had all the possible answers which could be the reason of this drop, but there was not a structure to it. That's what we are going to build up in these sessions, how to address these problems in a structure. So answers are not going to change. Answers will still be the same what you have written on the chat box. It just, how will I address this? Hey, if you think about the regional factors, I think there could be some locations where it has been banned. That goes into region. Coming to YouTube related, the lacking coming from the YouTube related factors, more ads, less personalization. So we'll structure the problem and answer this. So that's what we call as structuring. Then comes second, comprehensiveness. Comprehensive means how exhaustive is a person thinking. Is the person just so I've actually seen people who will just stuck themselves in one area and just think about it. So I take a lot of interviews. I'm connected with a lot of companies where I'm paid to interview people for 1 or 2 hours. So what they do is, if I give them a problem, and if a person has come with a mindset of, let's say, location, all of his or her answers would be around location only. They'll not think about the systems issues, the system failures. They'll not think about the customer behavior. They'll not think about the policy changes. They'll just think about maybe this location, maybe this there's a ban in this area, maybe this area people are not working fine. So they'll just talk about location related factors. The idea for these problems, the judgment is, are you able to see comprehensive? Okay, I'll see uh, customer behavior also. I'll see government policies also. I'll see whether there is a system issues also. So I'll see from different perspectives, and that's what we call as comprehensive. So you structured your thoughts, you thought about a lot of things all around, and finally is feasibility. I really call that out in all my sessions. People literally come up with ideas. I asked something around, I don't recall the questions, but I asked something and the person said, I'll hire robots and give it to you. I mean, can you even imagine a startup just started with a very limited budget would hire 10, 20 robots to do their work? I mean, that's not possible. Like, he'll be like, I'll use generative AI, I'll use this, I'll use that. And he was giving some of the solutions which are not even feasible. So make sure whatever you are recommending, it's okay if it's not right, but make sure your final recommendations or whatever you're saying are feasible. You should not have some things which sounds like unreasonable. So that's what we see in the judgment criteria. And if you talk about the general framework which you have to use while answering a question is clarify. You might not know each and everything around that question, so clarify. Structure or plan your answer, and finally summarize and conclude. Now, this framework would work whether it's an interview you're into or if you're in a company. The same structure works even in the company. I have actually seen if you structure well your questions, your answers, your approach, it gives a different impression altogether. So please make sure you follow these things and keep it in mind whenever you come across product sense or just in general questions which are not related to the technical subjects. All good, guys? Is my pace fine with all of you? You want me to get slow or it's good? Good. All right. Thank you. Now let's move on to the type of problems you generally come across in companies or in interviews. It's not an exhaustive list, but majority of the times the problem will be revolving around these 4 types. So the first problem is product diagnostics. Or we also call it as a metric change. Like I just give you an example. YouTube traffic decreased by 5% this week. So it's a traffic decrease. Or let's say business class flight bookings increased by 15% month over month. Business class seat bookings increased 15% month over month. So it's like bookings increased. Let's take in another Amazon order rate. The number of orders happening increased by 20% in last 3 days. Or Instagram, you might have used all of these. Instagram daily active users, like people who are coming and using Instagram daily, reduced by 2%, which was not the case earlier. So all of these, like there is always a metric assigned: traffic, bookings, order rate, daily active users. Whenever there is a change in metric and you analyze the cause around it, that's called a product diagnostic problem. Clear, guys? Can you guys now sense what would be a metric change question if I give you? Okay. Second type, product feature success measuring. Product feature success measuring. And we also call it as defining the metrics. So let's say a very basic example. YouTube launched ads during videos. Okay, now whether this launching of the ads is a success or not, how would we even identify whether these ads are helpful for the YouTube or not helpful? We cannot just think that, okay, because of ads, YouTube will get the money and then it's good. No, that could be also a reason, but how would you understand from the perspective of users, from YouTube, from advertisers, whether launching the ads during the videos was good for YouTube or not? So you will design some metrics around it to understand that, okay, we launched this on this date and this metric we decided will track. This metric is going good. That means our launching was successful. So something like, or if I give you another example, Amazon. So you have a search bar here, right? You search something and you get results. So now there are some algorithms here. Let's say I searched badminton racket. I might get Yonex, I might get Lining and others, Ashway and so on. Now there will be an algorithm one which is giving me this result, and that's giving me, so click through rate. I will talk about this funnel. Click through rate means whatever I searched, I clicked on that particular result. The first result I clicked, that's click through, means I clicked and went to that particular product. So that click through rate is 80%. That means all the people who are searching something, they click on the first result, which is given by algorithm 1. 80% of the times first result is getting clicked. The click through rate of algorithm 2, which is giving the second result, the click through rate is 90%. Which algorithm do you think is good? Second one, right? Because 90% of the times second result is getting clicked by the users on whatever they search. So now how did you identify whether the second result is good? The search result second is good because you had a metric to measure, which is click through rate. That is something we'll see. How do we design this metric? Click through rate, this is what we designed. It could be any other metric to see the health of the search. So I'll put, if you have to identify or measure that how is my search doing, then you define a metric. That is what we will see in this particular problem. Clear, guys? Difference between product diagnostics and product metric design. In product design, the second one will not have a metric. We'll just have a problem. I'm launching a feature. I'm launching an Instagram reel feature. Is the reels doing good or not? How would you tell it? You'll measure it. And for measuring, we define a metric. That's what we'll see. Third is product launch recommendation. So in product launch recommendation, as I talked about, you basically tell, okay, I have a Google Sheets. I hope everybody has seen Google Sheets. Yes, no? Yes? Okay. So in Google Sheets, you get an icon here which is called as share. Right? Earlier that share button was under the file. So I'm not sure if you used that earlier, but there's something called as file that comes up, and in that drop down, there was something called as share here. So from here they tried to do a change to bring a button and see if this feature is getting used a lot or not. So from file drop down to a button, that's should be done or not. That's a recommendation you have to do. So how was it performing when it was under the drop down of the file, and how is it performing when it is a button altogether? That's something where we'll do A/B testing sort of things. We call it as a recommendation. Should we keep it like this or should we launch it like this? So if you are changing anything around the feature, making it here and moving it from the page to page or anything of this kind, we'll be using A/B testing, or we call it as product launch recommendations. In fact, if I give you one more example, which I've been giving you in the entire class, I told for product bundle recommendation, we said we'll show one product here and we'll show bundle here. Then someone said, why not we can show bundle on the top and standalone product like this. This looks like a very minor change. You might think, hey, how does it matter if I'm showing one product up or one product top? But there is a science behind it. The moment a person logs in at the app or move to these pages, where does the eyesight go? The first thing, the eyesight would go here. It's very common, and that's what we have different people in the company who study this and all. Sometimes you also explore. So it looks like a very minute change up and below, but it does make a lot of difference. So this is also an A/B testing, like, is this particular sort of view is doing good or this view is doing good? Everybody clear with this product launch recommendation? Great. Moving on to the last type. Again, as I'm telling it again, these are not the all type of problem which are there in the world. But generally, you'll come across one of these 4 types. Last is product improvement, the most toughest part. It takes months and years to work on it. Like, to give you an example, how would you improve Google Maps? Now, it's a very, very high level question. How would you improve Google Maps? Lot of thought process has to go in it. You'll have to understand how Google Maps work, what's wrong, what's not doing wrong, what's not going good, and so on. Or very simple, so that you guys can relate, you all have a scalar dashboard where you see when is your class starting, what is the next class planned, what is your score, what is your attendance, what are the assignments, what are the homework, content, everything. Like, how can we work to improve the dashboard? So that's quite subjective and stuff. So that's what we call, how would you improve a scalar dashboard? So all such questions go into product improvement questions. Visual navigation is under process. What's that, Abdullah? I didn't follow that. So repeating it again, product diagnostics, product success, which we define metrics, then product launch recommendations, and product improvement. These would be, but again, I'll just write it non-exhaustive, okay? There could be other type of problems too, but these would be the major covering ones. So the agenda for today is to take one example of problem type 1 and problem type 2. And from the next class, the idea is to pick up the exact problem from different domains and work on it. So we'll start with the first problem. I'll give you a question and I would request you to give me your approach, and then I'll show you how can we move with the structured approach. Okay. So my first question would be, you'll have to tell me which type of problem it is. So my question is, percentage of users who clicked on the search result of an FB event increased 15% week over week. Investigate this. Okay, so before even you get to this solution of this problem, first tell me it's a product diagnostic. Which 1, 2, 3, 4? Diagnostic, defining, launch recommendation, or product improvement? Which category it is? Type 1, Deb Prakash, Mayur, Ankita, Priya, Ranjan, Sumit, Sneha. Okay. So looks like No, Sneha said 2. Why 2, Sneha? 2 is product defining metrics. Here they are saying the search result of a percentage of users here. Did you see this? It's a metric already we have. Success, no, we are not defining a metric. We already have a metric which is percentage of users that has increased. Right? So metric is already with us. Success metric is something that you have to define from scratch. If they would have said, hey, how is my search result on FB event doing? Can you measure the success? Then it would have been the product, the second type of problem. Okay. Everybody is clear. Why is it the first category? Yes, exactly. Now, I will first explain it to you. Let's say a lot of you might not have used Facebook. Do we have anyone who is not a Facebook fan? I'm not. I've just created an account so that people don't feel I'm outdated. So I have an account on FB, but I don't use FB. Do we have anyone in my category here? Okay, we have a lot of people, so let me explain it to you. So let's say I searched A.R. Rahman, or I just searched A.R. Rahman, okay, on the Facebook search icon. Now, whenever I search something, I'll get some results which will be like profiles with the name A.R. Rahman. Then I'll get some groups created for A.R. Rahman. I might get some pages, some normal pages around this. I might get events happening with A.R. Rahman and etc. So these kind of things would be there in a result. It could be few more things, but this is something I analyzed after searching on the Facebook. So now this question is saying that when a user is searching something, the clicks happening on this event results has increased by 15%. Whenever user is searching something, the clicks happening on all results are there, but when the clicks happening on the event related results are more, they have increased. Everybody is clear with the question? Yes, no? So please don't consider that events would always be in the last. Maybe events would have shown at the second place. But the idea is, if the link related to the event, that clicking is happening more compared to the page clicks, profile clicks, group clicks, and so on. Okay. So now you have to tell me, we'll follow the same approach. Let me first tell you so it was clarify, you'll plan, and then you'll summarize. If we start with the clarify, would you have any questions? Do you want to clarify any questions for this particular problem? Which event? Good question. Any event, be it fitness related, be it a music concert, be it a NGO related event, any event which is considered as a group of people meeting at a place and doing an event. That's what all the events. Good question, Sneha. What else? Place of event, it could be any place. So it could be anywhere in the world. It's just an event. One second. Was this change in a particular geo or area? Because there can be a concert in an area. Okay. From when this decrease started? So very good question. Was this week? You're saying week over week, but is this decrease in last 3 weeks, last 10 weeks, last week? So the answer I give is the thing is the change has happened from the last week. Why are you investigating? Good question, Arya. So because we want to make sure if event click has increased, what's the reason? Like it is 15% is a huge number. Is it impacting any other feature of Facebook? We just want to be sure that it is not by chance. It is like it's normal and it's not hampering any other features of Facebook. So that's why we want to investigate this. Date and time, exactly. So you guys are thinking from a perspective, which platform? Super, Dev Prakash, right? So you guys are thinking from different angles. But let me actually define a framework and then we'll go in that framework. So this is an acronym. You'll have to keep this acronym in mind whenever you do a product diagnostic problem. Any particular artist? No. So it's like I'm giving you, consider me as an interviewer or your manager, and I'm saying it could be any place, it could be any concert of any person, of any field. So whenever you come across a product diagnostic, always keep this in mind. CRIED. C stands for clarify. R stands for rule out. E stands for internal data. E stands for external data. And D is nothing but data. That means internal data, external data. So CRIE wasn't making it complete, like cry. What is cry? So I added D, where you can make it as external data and internal data. Now, when you go to Chat GPT, if you guys are using, or if you go anywhere on the Google and you say how to do root cause analysis, you will find multiple frameworks. Some people will say, I'll ask 5 whys and I'll get the answer. Like, why is it happening? If it is happening in, let's say, US, why US? Which area of US? Which age group of US? Which time of US? So I'll ask 5 whys and then my question will solve. Or there are many fishbone approach and many more approaches framework. This is something which was defined by, I think, McKinsey. I don't recall, but it was McKinsey, I remember, who came up with this framework, and it really makes sense to me, and hence we got this for you guys. Try this, keep it in mind, and try to solve 1 or 2 problems. I think it's going to work majority and in a very nice way. So whenever you're addressing a problem, think from this particular acronym. I'll first clarify. I'll talk about each and every factor now. Then I'll just rule out whatever is not possible or which are ruling out factors. I'll then work on internal data and external data. So clarify means definitely you're getting more clarity. Rule out means ruling out some options which cause this problem and we cannot do anything about it. Right? Those are rule out. So if we can rule out those things, that means now we have to go and look into the data. So I'll talk about this problem which we have just taken in these factors. Internal means the data which is in your company, which is in your hands. All the data related to Facebook will be there with you. So that's what is called as internal data. External data means any data related to the competitors. You might not have much data around competitors, around change in government policies, etc., etc. So that's external. That's not in your control, but it still could be a reason for your problem. So in internal also we'll see one more. So we have cried, and then when you analyze internal data, we also have one more acronym which is called tropics. where T stands for time. Is there any time related issue? Like lot of you asked last week, what date, what time, which week, etc. Region. Somebody also asked, is it in specific location or is it happening everywhere, the Facebook event clicks? Are there any other related factors? I'll talk about this problem in a minute and I'll explain you the related factors. Someone talked about, is it a platform issue? I is silent. Again, we wanted to make this word tropics. Otherwise, it could have been trop CS, right? That will not get on your minds. So I is just silence, silent. C is cannibalization. Do you understand what's cannibalization? Anyone? So cannibals are those who eat the flesh of other humans. In general, if you search what are cannibals, cannibals is like one human eating the flesh of another humans. Basically, is there anything else which is affecting your Facebook? So let's say if my Facebook event clicks has increased, has my page clicks have reduced or my profile clicks have reduced? So is there any other metric which has got impacted because of this metric? So that is what is called as cannibalization. To give you one more example, I actually worked on this case study. I was getting interviewed for a Singapore-based apparel company called Love Bonito. I'm not sure if you have heard. The company name is Love Bonito. I was given a case study saying, we are opening a retail store. Can you tell me that this launch of retail store has impacted our online sales? That means, or there was a cannibalization in our retail and online sales. So that means if my online launch has increased, has my retail sales has reduced or not? That's what is called as cannibalization. Online increase, retail decrease. That means one metric increase, one metric decrease. There is a change happening because of each other. That's called as cannibalization. Cannibalization is generally like reverse. 90% of 99% of the times, whenever this term is used. And S stands for customer segmentation. Is it like people above 18 are clicking more events, or people from Indian ethnicity are clicking more, or customer segmentation is like what else? The females are clicking more, right? So all the segmentation you can think from a customer perspective will do using this keyword tropics. Let's move one by one, guys. It's already 8. Do you need a break, or we can start with the case study? 5 minutes break. Okay, sure.